Everybody, welcome back with the Plapper. Platypus is the name, and today we're talking Persona 5 The Phantom X. I want to show you one of, if not literally, my favorite team in the game right now. Now, I'm gonna warn you, okay? This is a budget team, yes. You're not going to be breaking any speed records, but this is a team that I think is like a really powerful budget team. And honestly, the reason we're going to showcase it here in the layer of the Arcane Flame is specifically because it is a fire team with only the lower rarity units, and I think it's going to be really good for clearing this dungeon in general. But also, I think that this team has some really good things about it that we'll get into in just a second here. First, we'll show you a fight. But basically, this is what I call the HP boys. So everything here is actually pretty precise in why I want it. So I guess Lufel, actually, he's the one that's not as precise, so move him out of here. But this team is mostly built around Kiyoshi here. So Kiyoshi, if you haven't used him, and I wouldn't be surprised because not many people have, he has a lot of skills that are based off his maximum HP. Now, these are relatively low percent bases, like 20% is not that high, but he has a passive basically getting chosen one stacks, and every chosen one stack up to 5 gives him an additional, his skills do additional 4% of his current HP. So really they can get an additional 20% on top of it and an additional 25% fire damage for your full party. So these numbers are kind of deceptively low. And I want to keep you in mind that my guy's not really that built yet. This is still pretty early into the game. But basically, you stack HP on this guy, and then first thing he does is he catches someone on fire, then he spreads that fire to everybody, then he converts the fire into Sacred Flames, and then he is able to super nuke down one character with Sacred Flame. So he is basically what the team is built around. So why are we building around him? Because he is an HP focused character. Now, you may know here, Soy, one of my personal favorites, if not literally my favorite character in the game, Icy Defense. Increase the party's max HP by 15% of Soy's max HP, up to 10,000, right? So you can get up to 10,000 extra HP. And it also is a heal, and it makes him tanky. So he's already stacking HP, right? Because this does HP base damage, this does HP base damage, and this scales HP. So we're stacking HP on him, and we're going to use his high HP to actually buff the HP of course, himself, but also of Kiyoshi here. Now, per Platy here, which is whatever, protagonist, we are using Lachesis. I'm not sure how to say it. So she's very important. She is a rank 4, and I think that's when this team can actually kind of come online. Because she gets Discretion of Life. Increase max HP by 14%, which is her. And then after healing, increase target's max HP 12%. So it doesn't say the main target, so I don't think it is just the main target. I think it's everybody, but she has a restore party HP. So, and it recovers an elemental ailment, not very good. This is actually worse than media most of the time, but it's good enough. So I am going to target the guy I want to get the HP on, but this is an AoE heal, so it's good. And it's going to increase their HP, which is also increasing our damage. And we are going to be using the all-in weapon here to be getting extra healing, extra shield, giving everyone extra defense, and then just extra healing in general. So, and Lufel is here for a very important reason. He's a little bit faster than Kiyoshi, and we need someone that can actually apply burn. You could use Anne, you could use the protagonist if you could speed up the protagonist, but Kiyoshi is much slower if you're not able to proc at least one burn on one target. Then he kind of is like self-sustaining for the rest of the fight. But this is a guarantee burn. It's whatever damage, and it just does the burn. That's why we care about it. And it decreases healing received by 30%. That might be relevant sometimes, but also he is definitely a backup healer. But you can see mine's not very built, so I was going to use Anne for a point, but for the sake of this video, I think we do this. So also, besides the healing one, we do also have a backup here. This rank 3 character has a basically guaranteed burn on one target. And then Hellrider, you get at as part of your steps. He has Blazing Hellfire, which is like an insanely powerful, it's like 150%, almost 150% single target attack, and it will refresh the duration of burning on one target. So that's pretty good as well. But those are kind of like accessories. We really care about her increasing the max HP. So also, KO is very important for this team. You do not want to use your other support. I mean, you can, it's fine, but you will notice a drop off here. even unless your other one just built way more. But what's really important here is the retro dance number, is you increase your damage by 7.2%. So this team has a big weakness. It doesn't care about your attack stat at all. So a lot of times when you're reading abilities, increasing attack by X% is the same as like increasing damage. Maybe not literally the same, but you know, roughly they're going to be doing increasing your damage output. If something increases your attack, you do not care on this team. You want things that increase your damage or your HP. And so this increases your damage. Also, increase damage delta foes with elemental ailment, and burn is an elemental ailment, which will always be procced. Also, you can get the extra accuracy, not as important, but I do think that this is pretty good. And in fact, even if you look at mine, for her enhanced stats, I actually put a bunch of HP on her as well, so she's got a pretty high amount of HP. Obviously, not like super well built or anything, but you know, I mean, we're getting there one day at a time, okay? So the advantage of this team is very strong. It is a very tanky team. They have very high HP pools. Their damage is very mid, but it is also guaranteed damage in the sense that you're always going to have burn up on probably every enemy. So they're always taking at least 5% of their damage, and you are very, very hard to kill. Obviously, my Lufel here might die relatively early because he's just not very built. You could also use other characters. You could slot in pretty much anyone here, as long as they're fast enough to proc a burn, and because you want to have the synergies here. But the downside of this team is it's not fast. This is not going to be a team that likely destroys content, but this might be something to use in a palace where you're not restricted by time, where you're not trying to beat something within a certain amount of actions, but you do want to just eventually get through it. So we're going to open here. Icy defense, right? I don't think it matters, but you can take a look here. 8,000 HP, 7,000 HP. Let's drop it down. Boom. So even right there, 9,000 HP and 8,000 HP. Your job is to set one thing on fire, and I want you to set this on fire. It doesn't matter what, as long as you catch it on fire. So now that there's one thing on fire, this attack actually becomes an AoE attack that does half the damage, meaning it only does 5% of his HP, which is weak. And he has no stacks, right? So this is going to do very low damage. But what this does is it spreads the burn to everybody. So everybody is guaranteed to start burning there, unless there's some like weird resistance. And you know, this is the situation where I'd probably use it. So I would say you probably do want to do an all-out attack here. His follow-up attacks are probably pretty weak because of the, you know, he's HP based, not attack based. So now they're all burning, and so we're at 9,000 and 7,900. He lost a little bit of HP there. I don't even know how he lost the HP, but we're gonna go ahead and just heal preemptively, and it is gonna give us all HP up. We can't see our HP totals until our turn comes up again, but we're gonna get a rough idea. Are we gonna break the 10,000 mark? That I'm not sure of. But that's, we will after our highlight, but we may not before our highlight. So let's take a look here. So you can see here, we're at 9,500, and this is actually where you have a good option when you have your highlight come up. His highlight will do great damage and burn everybody if you need to get burn on everybody. In fact, one of my goals is to get that 25% at the start of combat so I can get the highlight up sooner and maybe don't need to spend his turn burning stuff. But all the highlights are relatively reasonable here. But what we're going to do is we are going to do our retro dance number. And to be fair, we're probably just out scaling these guys anyway, right? They're not exactly like jacked, but this is fine. We're just trying to showcase what the team does. And so this guy does do a lot of damage, right? You don't want to forget that he could do a lot, right? I mean, you know, relative. If you got Joker, it may not seem like a lot, but 5,000 damage for a guy with 9,400 HP, that's pretty good. Owlfire, sure, go ahead. We don't want to actually kill them until I could show you what the team actually does. So now we can go here. This is gonna, again, this heals us and it increases our max HP again. So it just like, you're so tanky. You're always like, you will have those turns where your max HP kind of like just falls off. You don't have it when you need it. But now we're at almost 10,000 HP with both these characters. And again, these characters are at level 50 with not particularly good gear. I've invested a little bit for the sake of this video, but not like actual, I haven't spent like a full day even grinding gear. I've spent maybe 150 stamina doing a couple stages. So now that they're all on fire, we use the Crimson Summon. He is very nice where he goes 1, 2, 3. But if there's only one enemy, you don't even need to use Ring of Fire. If you're going up against a single target, you go straight to Crimson Summon, because what this does is it gives you 2 chosen stacks per enemy that is burning, which is, you know, all of them here. And it's going to do Sacred Flame. And Sacred Flame does extra damage based on your HP at the end of their turn, or at the start of their turn. So their turn's going to come up. We're not going to do that. So their turn's going to come up, and in fact, we'll just keep healing with you because this fight might be a little too easy for my showcase. And I don't think the HP keeps stacking, but you're going to see here when their turn comes up, they take damage, and at the end of the turn, they take damage. They took 5,000 from the Sacred Flame, then at the end of their turn, they take 5%. And then the, you know, boom, 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 boom. And I'm hoping I could show you the, now that they have Sacred Flame, I'm hoping I could show you, here, let's go ahead and Icicle Hatchet one of these guys. I bit my tongue there. Smash him. You know what? Can you use your gun? This is the slowest thing of all time. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I just thought it would be kind of fun to switch it up here. You son of a gun. Okay, so they all have. We should have the. I mean, we can take a look at all of our buffs. This is not like insane broken damage. Okay, but this is gonna be, I think, pretty good, right? His HP is sitting at what, 8,300. So one of our HP buffs might have fallen off. But we got 5 chosen one stacks. Remember, that gives us 25% more fire damage and 20% more of our max HP as damage. Highlight gives us 927. That's from Soy. Increased fire damage 20%. That's from the arena we're in. The retro dance number is still up. Increase effect by 1.5 times on foes with elemental ailments. So we have a higher damage, you know, number there. Attack, defense, ailment accuracy, all this stuff is, you know, a bunch of stuff. As far as them, they don't really have that many defense buffs either. We could go ahead, like if we're going against one enemy, we have a huge defense shred in Soy as well. And their damage, our damage is based on our max HP, but it still goes against their defense, right? It's not like it's a true damage thing. But let's go ahead and use Cleansing Flame. One of my favorite visual attacks as well. It's just one of my favorite attacks in the game, honestly. But yeah, if they have Sacred Flame, you deal more damage. And this also does closer to 50%, so it does 50% plus the 30% plus the 20%. So it actually does quite a bit of damage. So we'll try it on this guy here. So yeah, I mean, it did almost 9,000 damage. And I think that's pretty darn reasonable to expect for a, we'll speed this up now. And again, this is not like particularly well built. And of course, like there's a bit of setup to it. This is not like Joker auto farming everything, but I really am happy with this team. This has been my favorite team I've played. Besides, I'll admit, I don't normally use Lufel. I normally use, or Cattle. I normally use Anne Panther because I just like her a bit more because she's cooler. But I think honestly, Lufel is probably a better fit to this team. But yeah, let's give it one more quick look here at the team as an overview. This is the team I am using, all in with this specific persona. Lufel, I think, is pretty interchangeable with but you do need to inflict the burn. It'll slow you down if you don't have it. And then, yeah, these two guys are really the most synergistic combo, and this persona with them is all very good. You're just so tanky. You're doing pretty guaranteed damage. And I actually think this team might be better against one target than a bunch, even though you could spread the burn and the Sacred Flame to everybody. Because you don't need to try to burn everybody first, you could just go straight from, you know, have Lufel burn, straight into the Sacred Flame, straight into the, you know, doing the technical to deal a bunch of damage. All while you could even use Hellrider to keep refreshing the burn if you don't have Lufel or something. That way you don't need to reapply burn ever. But Lufel will probably apply burn and you keep healing. So yeah, that's my first team build. I think it's a little wacky, and this is kind of what I'm known for. If you watch the plat, I kind of like off-meta teams that I think can get the job done. And this is a team that has been getting the job done, at least in this area of the game, and, you know, a few other areas like it. You're not going to win any speed championships, but you're going to have some fun. And that's what video games are about. Anyway, much love for platypuses per platypus. I'll see you later. Bye!